The Calgary Saddledome, in one of the historically significant wrestling buildings in the country, is set to host SmackDown tonight in the second of back-to-back TV tapings for the company in Canada over the past month after last Monday's Raw in Edmonton, and after Rob Van Dam and Eddie Guerrero put on a memorable performance to close Raw in a 20-minute ladder match. The counter for the SmackDown brand is set to feature Kurt Angle vs Edge in a cage match to headline the show, built as the feud blow-off match and third in their series, with each having one pay-per-view win over the other in the past 2 months. With the final of the second season of Tough Enough set to air immediately following SmackDown in a live 1-hour special from WWF New York to announce the winners, first season winner Maven, who surpassed expectations to become a regular main roster member, had perhaps the worst night of his career to date, as less than a minute into his match with Christian, Maven, doing a usually routine spot of sliding under Christian, broke his leg to take him out of the ring for the next several months, coming in bad timing with him getting more featured spots on the show, including last Thursday being in the mix with Angle legend Christian, and with the success of the debut week of the company's new 2-hour Saturday night block on TNN, 2 days after SmackDown in the Hart family territory in Calgary, and with last week's Confidential doing strong numbers for the debut episode built around the Montreal '97 controversy. The second episode of Confidential is set to continue with the controversial theme, building intrigue with shoot interviews, this time covering Davey Boy Smith's struggles with substances that led to him passing away at an early age a few weeks back, along with the second part of the Shawn Michaels interview covering his recent personality change. Unlike most of the past 2 months where SmackDown was built around Hogan as the top name, the show tonight saw him making his main appearance in a backstage promo, shown on the screen to lead to a huge ovation from the Canadian crowd in the building, with Calgary following the recent ovations in Toronto and Montreal, as Hogan hyped last Thursday, which was set to see him retiring as a turning point in his career, saying that while his days as a full-time performer are winding down, there's one more thing left for him to do in the business that is just as important to him as winning the WWF title, wrestling Vince McMahon in a match decades in the making, with him confronted by McMahon seconds later to lead to Angle laying out Hogan from behind, with the eventual Hogan vs McMahon match, which Hogan talked about as a dream match and the one thing that will bring him back to the WWF even during the peak of the Nitro era, targeted for either SummerSlam in August or WrestleMania 19 next March, with one of the most talked about matches of the week coming next as Undertaker came out for his promoted title defense against rookie Randy Orton, with Orton just weeks into his main roster run getting a shot at the title in perhaps the highest profile match of his rookie year, with Taker cutting a semi-babyface promo pre-match, putting over Calgary as one of the traditionally historic wrestling cities in the world, with him deciding to give a third-generation rookie a shot at the title, before going on to put a strong elevating performance, with him unusually selling big to put Orton over strong throughout the match, including several close near falls with the company after JR last week publicly acknowledged that new talent are going to be given chances to elevate their status in the near future, getting Orton ready for a massive push with him alongside Brock Lesnar, the top 2 prospects to be major players, with the Taker vs Orton title match peaking the hour with over 5.7 million viewers, with the show tonight and the first SmackDown after the reports in the last week of Paul Heyman getting a more prominent role on the SmackDown writing team, seeing a more by-the-book wrestling-heavy show with all the top names working in the ring with no big promo segments throughout the night in an unusual formatting, even with SmackDown usually the more in-ring focused show in the past year. Triple H vs. Test was next in a match set up with an angle of Test laying out Hunter backstage last Thursday, continuing the in-ring focused night on SmackDown with Hunter and Test going 6 minutes, bringing out Storm followed by Taker for the interference for Test to go over, bumping SmackDown gradually to over 5.6 million viewers in the 9:15 p.m. quarter, which saw a major Taker beat down on Hunter to kick off the build-up to their pay-per-view title match originally set for the Backlash pay-per-view last month before being delayed due to Hogan's babyface turn, as SmackDown, which since the record low number on May 2nd showed a complete reverse pattern to Raw's recent slide to pick up viewers every week, including going back into the over 6 million viewers range last Thursday for the show built around the Hogan retirement promo, saw the broadcast on the night following Raw to take a hit of almost a million viewers from 6.1 to 5.2 million viewers, continuing the company's business drop since the start of May, which noticeably cooled off and accelerated following the WWE name change, and with the Angle vs. Edge cage match set to headline the show over the full final half-hour with Edge and Angle cutting pre-match promos minutes before coming out. Stu Hart and the Hart family, which built the Calgary territory into one of the famous wrestling cities in the world, were shown sitting in the front row just before the main event, coming from the Calgary Saddledome, which famously held the 1997 Canadian Stampede pay-per-view in one of the Hart family's most memorable nights in the business. In an almost identical formatting to last Monday's main event, Kurt Angle and Edge came out an hour and 38 minutes into SmackDown at the exact same time Guerrero and Van Dam came out for the ladder match on Raw, signaling on the cage match going long to close the broadcast after Van Dam and Eddie went over 20 minutes in one of the longest matches in Raw history, with Angle and Edge, which in the past month, in addition to their two strong pay-per-view matches, working almost exclusively against each other on the road, including headlining in cage matches, set up to match or top the spectacular ladder match on Raw to deliver another top pay-per-view caliber performance on television, reportedly going around 20 minutes at the SmackDown taping on Tuesday, with the match cut several minutes in post-production to fit for the TV time slot, with SmackDown, unlike Raw's overrun on TNN, not going past the top of the hour, taking the final commercial break at 9:52 p.m. seconds after Hogan came out to a massive reaction to throw Angle back into the cage after having the match 1 seconds earlier, with the Edge vs. Angle cage main event gaining over 700,000 viewers over 2 quarters to peak the night with over 6.1 million viewers, seeing Edge, which in bad timing injured his shoulder during the match, with him the standout name so far to up his game and strongly benefit from the roster split, going over with a top rope spear to a big reaction to close the show, with Hogan in the ring and another step into being elevated to main event status.